Good morning, everybody. Well, the schizophrenia continues in markets after Friday's reversal, nasty reversal back down on news. Overnight, things turn back up again and slowly moving into the void above. We'll see how far it gets. Moving quite bullishly, actually. Um, pre-market, and after it made that launch up. And how do we define bullishly? Relatively equal in size range bars that advance continuously, overall in one direction with pivot highs. And we had this was the point overnight where it could have possibly turned down when you get a pivot high and you get a retest. But the pivot lows are right here, and buyers stepped up right there and began to advance it again. Now it's beginning to accelerate. And you can see it on the 65-minute chart. You're starting to get a wide range bar. So no signs that it's stalling, but continues just to be, you know, moment to moment insanity as to, you know, it's going down, it's going up, no down, no up, no down again, 2 Fridays, down, down, and reversals and overall just going nowhere. So it's not over by any means because there's no pattern to suggest it's over yet. So here's the NASDAQ 100 futures, and it's the same story. You can see similar patterns. Power move up, sideways, buying at the prior pivots. It continues to move up. It's starting to advance. So as prices begin to advance in an accelerated manner, it typically happens closer to the end, but there's no sign that it's over. I mean, it could continue to advance here. So this little continuation pattern right there, that little minor dip, maybe it just continues higher back up here, until it reaches these pivot highs. So, you know, I wrote about this a little bit in the weekend letter and then decided to use that information in the chart of the week, which you can read. I'll put it into the chat in the social media there for those to read. But like, what's the solution when you're dealing with this kind of craziness? Well, actually, there's two solutions. Stay away, right? Just don't trade. Um, yeah, well, there's a few. I guess go to a higher time frame, trade from the higher time frame, and manage it from there. But all of those things revolve around position and money management. So, I coined it or titled it the emotional roller coaster. What's the solution to the emotional roller coaster? And it's position and money management. And it's not just with these kind of patterns, it's with everything. Because without that part of your trading plan, you are just going to be an emotional basket case from moment to moment. And so, look, just recognizing these kind of patterns where they display uncertainty. Um, I've said it over the last couple of weeks, waiting for it to tighten up. Well, it isn't tightening up. Um, Lower pivot high, higher pivot low. I did draw the lines on there to show the somewhat of compression or contraction between pivot highs and pivot lows. That's one way of recognizing the tightening of the spring. And so this is a news-driven market. We've got some pretty big earnings reports already out, more to come. And we wait. And one of the things I wrote about, so I'm writing these things in the weekend letter. It's what I'm thinking pretty much. And it's like, okay, here's a lot of these earnings reports that came in better than expectation as the market just kind of burning up its fuel, so to speak, because we see those good earnings reports and stocks go down, some go up, like TTW went up, and some others, and then others like Amazon gapping down, and a lot of the fangs, that have been underperforming and moving lower. So it just continues to build on this point in time where, we, and it's interesting, we point in time where the prior administration was basically trying to kill us through vaccines and illegals, so on and so forth. I won't get into all that. And now we have an administration that's uncovering what we all knew, corruption, and dissecting that, and tariffs, so on and so forth. Some that are supposed to start today on steel and others, and whew, it's craziness. But it is what it is. So as we look at the charts, we just wait and recognize for patterns to develop that are decisive, and we don't have that yet. Robert says, is there an average number of days that the market can stay loose? No, no, Robert, we don't see. We all want that kind of information because human nature dictates certainty, and the markets don't give us that. What we have is the ability to read the chart patterns without indicators, and to recognize that as long as there are violent moves down and violent moves up, and the pivot highs and the pivot lows are far from each other, and there are gaps and overlapping bars, that picture is one of uncertainty. That's all we need to do. From there, if we know how to recognize a picture of certainty, which some point I showed you that here on a smaller time frame, right? Many times the higher pattern does begin to get tighter and tighter, consolidating, tighter pivot highs and lows, smaller ranges, smaller candle bodies. And then at some point you have an igniting move. And then the bars tend to stay something like this: equal ranges, distances between pivot highs and pivot lows not too far apart. Pullbacks stop at areas of minor support, not major support. All of that's covered, in the courses, which we call, or reference to being the fast track to understanding all of this stuff. All right, let me continue. So we looked at the AS, we looked at NQs. We did look at different markets to see, is there distant differences that might guide us. And so here we have a classic M-top. And in MT Lives, we've covered different patterns of M-tops. Usually one side has power reversal. Sometimes you get a new high reversal. Sometimes you don't. It just retests the potent reversal there. And so now, gapping down, and it's up here. It doesn't mean it's going to end here. We have this move into minor resistance. We're getting a wider bar in the 65-minute. Maybe it ends here. Maybe it doesn't. We'll see what happens in the first, 15, 30 minutes of the trading day, and see if it holds up here. Russell, I still think this is the best opportunity if it tightens up, cleans up, meaning this closes this way, it comes up to resistance, it tightens up here, and it breaks out, and it's got a void, and that would be a pattern where the underperformer plays catch up, and this presents the best opportunity for profiting for a larger move versus others that are up near significant resistance areas. And so we wait. XME, that's metals, which gold has been moving up. Yeah, I guess if that can clear here, that would look good. Somewhat similar pattern. It's got room to go up, sure. On a positive note, well, a few positive notes. It's not all crazy. Well, it's just messy pattern, but regional banks are moving up, and this is coming up toward resistance, but just erratic pattern, and it gaps down and moves up again. Maybe some kind of continuation pattern develops there. Financials are doing well, but this could be an M top. It doesn't have potent reversals. Is IWM yield sensitive? Yes. Yeah. Lower interest rates are positive for small caps, absolutely. And so that's something that's in question. It's been erratic. Interest rates. We talked about this Head and Shoulders top. It broke down here, it whipped up there, it broke down here, went back up last week, and it's just more craziness no matter where you look. Right? There's just a tremendous amount of uncertainty out there. Um, the transports looked good. Now it doesn't. We talked about this breakout bar failure pattern developing, wind up triggering, and prices went down into the void below. So maybe this is developing here. Maybe it's going to go sideways and drop again. So we look at all of these different pieces of technical puzzle and try and bring some clarity to it. And there really isn't. Oil, up into turning on the spigots to now, we know what's happening. This is down on support. It's trying to make a turn. Um, I'll cover the internals for a moment. They're neutral, nothing there. So that hasn't reached any kind of level that gives us reason to believe the corrective process is over. Um, Bond prices broke out, came back in. It hasn't, come back down here. So look, it's almost the same everywhere. Um, you know, Trump, what's he going to do? What's the next shoe to drop? Is it tariffs? Is it America taking over the Gaza Strip? What's happening in the Ukraine? Um, there's so many different moving parts that it changed from day to day. Canada being the next state. Oh man, I don't know about Sam and Don being my neighbor, but I'm joking. They're great people. Um, yeah, but look, there's things that he's saying and doing that has never been done. So of course everybody's trying to figure out, what does this mean? What's going to happen next? What if that happens? What are the implications of that? So, technically we look at the charts and say, hey, these charts display uncertainty. You could be like in the proverbial cave looking at the charts and no news. And it's like, I don't know what's going on out there, but these people are out of their freaking minds. And so, thank you very much, Mr. E-Signal. Um, anyway, at some point it'll end. It always does. SPX up higher. Where are you at? Where are you at? Gapping more than halfway into the big red bar. Moving averages colliding with each other. There's an unfilled gap down here. There's two pivot highs up there. You can see the 65-minute is just a big EKG of a heart attack whipping up and down. And this was interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen this before. Markets are up and the put strike came up. That's normal. And the call strike came down. So it's tightening up. There's one aspect of getting tighter where the opposing forces of bullish and bearish are tightening up. Um, I've mentioned the 6,000 level with the high open interest in puts and calls going out to the maybe even further. I didn't look, but at least going out into the quarterly expiration. And so prices haven't been able to get that far away from the downside of it or that far away from the upside of it before it gets pulled back toward it, or what's called pinning, where things tend to gravitate back toward where those bullish and bearish bets are made at that high strike. So we go into this week with more of the same. We've got economic reports coming out, earnings reports coming out, and whatever comes out of Washington can happen at any moment. So you keep your stops in and do what we do. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. I didn't hear anybody talking about the Super Bowl. Hope everyone had fun. I
That
heard
one, well, that wasn't uncertain or indecisive.
what?
Super Bowl.
Oh, I know. I'm not a gambler, but when I do bet on games, any sports games, I just have a default rule. Because I'm a contrarian, I take the underdog and the points. That's just what I do. So I would have won again. Um, but yeah, good game. I heard on the news that over 22 million people are going to be calling out sick. I think it's actually so friggin' retarded that they don't do it on a Saturday. I mean, come on. Why do you want to mess with workers Mondays? Let's do what we always do. Look at alarms going off. A block. That was a bad print. I had an alarm up here going off. But it's a nice consolidation. Look at the 20 and 50 going sideways. Trading range, rising 200. We're in it in the ETF letter. Our playa, when we went hotel shopping last week, we are along La Playa and also the White House. I didn't have an alarm on this, but we're in it. Looks good. Lyft up alarm. We shorted the $12 puts as an earnings trade. Earnings are tomorrow after the bell. TMF alarm. It's doing nothing. MBOT, we sold this pre-market. Remember this little 123 we bought? We only had a third left. And look at this rally this morning. So and there's a massive danger, you all, if you don't get our Telegram alerts and you're in the green room to get alerts outside of market hours. We had them sell this right around anywhere between 290 and 3 on this gap up. So we're out of that. Trip alarm. This, I forget, one of you gave this to me on Friday and I liked it. So this is in the weekend letter. And remember Expedia, I'm assuming it's because of Expedia ripping. Futu, I gave as a put spread, but it's gapping up $4, so that's going to be ruined. Cliff Clavin, we bought calls on Friday, went way against us, and we just went into boat mode. And with Trump's tariffs on steel, I mean, a lot of people reason these are up is because it's going to make our steel cheaper. All right, that's the common sense answer. So you got Cliff Clavin, you got new gapped up and it's pulling in. You got X-ray. Nick Trump met with the ex-president, and that's what caused that friggin' mess on Friday. Alcoa gapping up, it's a mess. So nothing there. Our K-Web up alarm. We are long this in the ETF. Let me check where our stop is. Oh no, we're not. Okay, that was an old alert then. All right, never mind. And that's it. Those are alarms. Let's go to earnings. We don't have many of them. Here, look at this Mobley I just saw going by the ticker. It's not earnings, but gapping up. Look, that's a nice gap setup. So it's gapping at this top of the range. 30-minute high, directional and put spread. Earnings here, McDonald's gapping up to 302. Put spread idea if there's any juice. Rock 288. Wow, that's a big gap. That's big, but excessive. Oscar November. Wow, it's up $5 off the low. Look at that tail, went under 45. But that's garbage downtrend. El Lima was on, this was a nice inverse head and shoulder, bullish weekly monthly. Gap's too big. Insight, a little breakout failure on Friday, but shoot, it's down now. It's down now. I was watching it when it had this bullish gap up. Look at that. That's like an intraday halt right there. Unless there was just no liquidity. And then, the fring, yeah, I bet it's probably no liquidity. I think it's dropped $1. CNA, no pattern. Mindex, wow, that's a big gap. I'm sorry, Mindy. I have no idea. Remember last Wednesday, MT Live on gaps. This is not an exhaustion gap. It's actually an igniting gap with all those converging MAs. But the gap's too big. What do you want me to do with that? So whether it's going to hold strength and goes sideways till after 3 or gets sold into, I have no idea. But I'll put it in a window. Nice out on that MBOT. Wow, that tanked. NSP, that was the capping up $4, but I don't see any prints, but it's nasty downtrend, all time frames. T-sum sell setup, bearish turn, 2050, but gap's too big. GCMG, I had, it's kind of a sloppy breakout, gap's too big. APC, it's a very bearish gap, but it's down a lot from 35. So I don't have a bias. AIOT 640. I just don't like these overlapping bars. I don't like things that trade like that. Now, Hain on Friday, I said, if it were to gap over Friday's high, then it would be a W bottom with a shock gap. But now we see that's a nasty gap, gapping down almost $1 on a $5 stock. So that's nasty. So that's a continuation gap. All right, where am I? All right, that's it. Schwab actually had as a possible bull rectangle. And obviously there has to be some news here pre-market, but 30-minute low, it's a call spread now. Whirlpool, Climo. We were talking about W bottoms last week. Whenever you see a Climo up or down, and then it starts to retrace, those are candidates for W patterns. So it's just a watch right now. I don't know what to do with it because it just continue its downtrend because it's in a downtrend. All right, lift up alarm again. I'll be curious where puts open up on that. And you always got to look at the cousin Uber. Yeah, Uber was moving on Friday. That's right. Actually, that's how we found Lyft on Friday when this thing was moving. Our Airbnb, the junk pattern, but it broke out. Put spread, watch. Coke, I like as a bottoming pattern. Has earnings though tomorrow. Look, it's kind of an inverse head and shoulder weekly. You got a buy set up on the monthly, so they're all in alignment. Mondelez, that's what we call a bear gap that bullies. So it's like the head of an inverse head and shoulder, but it has a void up here. So I like that. STRK, this is a micro strategy. I just read about it in their barons talking about it. And I forget it's their bonds or something like that. But I don't know, MSTR, you're playing with fire. But if it can get over last week's high, I like it. TMOS had a bullish barons, but no pattern. BWin, it's a breakout pattern. I love the converging MAs. I think I had a down alarm. Yeah, down alarm go off. Let me reset it 42.40. Oh, Tesla were short from Friday. I forgot about that alarm. So BWin over Friday, I like. All right, Tesla was shorted on Thursday, went against us a little bit on Friday when we were contemplating whether or not to kill it break even. We all kind of held our fingers and said, no, it's a breakdown from topping. We held it. We covered a third into weakness. So now we're in it at 470. So we have a $14 open gain right now. So that looks good. Delta Victor, a 1, 2, 3 that's going sideways with a void. Ideally, I'll get a bottoming tail. It'll take out some lows and then close with a tail. That would be our tail to jump on board. CSTM continuation short, it's gapping up, which is good because then it should not trigger unless it's weak. Same with EVH. ManH, it's a Climo, but it's weak and it's still a dead animal. But I'll watch it for a week. Maybe I'd watched things for a month before until I got it to the setup. But I do that only on things that I think have potential, obviously. MKC, kind of sloppy, a sloppy bull rectangle, closing breakout. UAL, I like as a put spread, inverse head and shoulder. Triple W, continuation breakdown. It's just, the entry was really Friday and their Thursday's low, but look at that 15-minute chart it's just a bearish grinder. BWin alarm. All right, good. Now I'll reset it higher, 42.60. Tick 1100. That's good. On the breadth department. All right, so remember I told you about Mindy? I had no idea what it would do. Look, I got sold into within 30 seconds, which isn't, that doesn't mean to do anything. It's just an observation. All right, SIL, up alarm. We're long this. I've stopped this Friday's low. Let me just reset the alarm, 37.50. This is silver. So this is, a good way to trade these tariff things, and then the XME I mentioned. Look, XME, Greg, look, is gapping over a red bar and this big old void. It's just a matter of how aggressive you want to be. ManH, low alarm. I had up and down alarms, but no, he's a dog. Triple W. This could be a day trade, short 5-minute low. Stop Friday's high to start. McDonald's is ripping. Our Cliff Clavin is ripping. Nice. So I have long calls and I'm short the $10 puts and Sat through that pain on Friday. Let me see. I'm actually bidding 2 cents for the puts. Let's see where they're at. Not filled. Cliff Clavin. Ah, that's me on the bid. 2 cents by 4. You know what I'm gonna do is cancel the order and see if a penny shows up. Yep, penny showed up. So sometimes you can trick the algorithm. You can trick the algorithm by, because it reads the midpoint. I'm gonna send it out again at 2 cents, but I'm not gonna get filled. I will get 3. Okay, now it's 1. Now it's 1 by 2. So maybe I'll get filled if the computer reads midpoint. All right, not yet. I'll leave it there. Yeah, TD was on my list too. Ah, nice. Yep. Yep, I missed that. My alarm went off pre-market with Trip. All right, Greg, do you the excessive gap discussion, do you like this here to buy set up pre-market?
Sure, it's not excessive, the gap.
Well, that's why we're talking. Um, all right, we've got a nice gain on Cliff Clavin. We got the $10 calls. I say we sell into strength, Greg, even though the pattern is bullish. Oh, shoot, it's already retraced. Just because, talks and so forth.
That's just coming out of a base.
Okay, well, then I'll do half.
Oil coming off I'm looking at USO now. What lifting off of the 50 and 200 MA near minor support. So technically oil should move up a little and help these energy stocks.
Well, guys, I mean, metals, steel and silver are on their own page with the tariff talk.
Which is interesting. He's saying he's gonna maybe that protects them, the tariffs. Maybe that's why they're going up. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I said. Correct. Correct, because it's going to make their products more competitive. Correct. Steel and aluminum, right?
Steel ETF isn't moving up. It moved a little and now it's below the open.
Yeah, we're in SIL, silver. But yeah, I mean, that's not part of the tariffs, but still it's a metal moving. Yeah, Don, we sold ours pre-market. Or are you looking at it as a new trade? Right, but when you make a statement, you got to tell me what you're thinking, or else it, doesn't mean anything to me. But yeah, we sold a pre-market right up here on this gap up. I mean, look on the daily, it's gapping up to here. Are you kidding me? You're not going to sell that? But no, I mean that retracement is nasty. I got zero interest in that. WBS alarm. Oh shoot, Sam, this is your dictionary company. Uh, Q's holding up the best. The other ones are coming in hard. IWM filled the gap. Diamonds are next. I mean, I got my computer lined up on this one screen. The Qs, spiders, diamonds, IWM, and the relative strength on the 15-minute chart from left to right is so obvious. I got them all four in a perfect row. ELV alarm. Greg, that's the one I asked you about a call spread under the lows, but it didn't have weeklies. United Airlines falling hard for some reason on the 15, but that's fine. It's a put spread if it triggered. It didn't trigger, so it's fine. Yeah, secondary offerings at, at a 30% discount. We'll definitely do that. OP's little bottoming pattern I've been watching, got from bat 2-1. I saw that pre-market. It's a $2 stock though, right? Yeah. I mean, for day trade, sure. Yeah, it looks horrible. Oh, lift. Let's see where our puts are. We're up, but not much. We're up 12 cents on our puts. TXT low alarm. All right, that's triggering. That was Greg's pick last week. We're buying, TD of it. I gave it as a, I gave it as long calls, which are not gonna get, you didn't get filled at the limit price. So I'll just change it to stock, as I said it was a go. EX, yeah, it's a continuation breakdown, sure. Is there, looks like it doesn't want to go down anymore. AMI. Trip. I think trip win 1835. Drop calls. Taking stop on Tesla. Nvidia's ripping. Wow. Let's move it over this pre-market high. How about just over 360 Tesla? Oh no, that's 360. My bad. Curliff alarm. Curliff, little marijuana stock going sideways. Donald's kept rippling. Remember I mentioned Mindy? I didn't know which way it would go. Look at that. So that turned out just to be profit taking at the open, but it's still a beast. All right, Curliff. I'm gonna start watching. Let me set an alarm 167. Yep. AD line got sold into aggressively when it opened up at 1,500. CX. Yeah, it's far from the 20, but a beast. Yeah, let it go sideways more. It is a 1, 2, 3, but notice how the 1, 2, 3 last week or a week before was better, but it gapped over it. Oh, Cemex, my old girlfriend used to be a CPA there. TXT alarm. Seventeen coins. 40. All right. Yeah, 60 doesn't bother me. That's an igniting gap. That doesn't bother me at all. Nope, it's bullish every single time frame. I think target 61, 62. But that's me. That's me. Yeah, China said they were going to put some tariffs on cat and deer. So I looked at cat and I mean, they both were capping up today. So it's like they were not affected by the threat, at least. ET alarm is triggering. Better still hanging in there. Did anybody like the halftime show last night? I couldn't understand one friggin' word he was singing about. Not a single word. And I'm doing good. Hey, Mobley, I forgot about no chart. Gap's too big. Don't like the reward to risk now. So Mexico still hanging in there, but a 1, 2, 3. eBay, it's fine. It's had a couple false starts. So for me, yeah, I know. I know. I like everybody likes close games unless you're winning and making fun of your opponent. Oh, wow, SKX tanked. It's on earnings last week. It's been all right. Things have settled down already for me, which is unusual on Mondays. Let me go through opens and pendings. Cliff Clavin, we know about CMCL. We have break even stop. LPSN's been a dead animal. Lift we know about, Mitter we know about, NEM I just looked at, Playa. I moved the stop, Friday's low. Actually, I'm gonna put an alarm at break even. 1307. EMF, we got a break even stop. Yeah, look at the video. Wow, that's that's strength. Look at that, up 6 bars. USB, we're short. Let's move stop break even now. Yes, White House. '98. XMTR is still good to add in Friday's high.
You want to remember that thing's a little spready for a price stock like that, but that's okay. Spread's like 45 cents, maybe give or take. You could bid for it unless it's screaming, and it isn't.
I gave Roku as a naked put trade into earnings. And with that gap and go, there's no way it got filled. We got to cancel it. Darn it. We were going to sell the $70 puts for $1. Let me see where they're at now. I bet they're probably maybe 60. It'd be my guess. 45. So yeah, they were cut in half. Very slow credit spread day. Not a single thing's triggered.
IWM is turning on the 5 minute wider bar here. Let's see if we'll finish.
Q's plowing here. You know, when I've been doing the videos last week, I was saying, I was talking about these three moving averages, and that they're all still bullish. This is just a wide and whippy trading range within an uptrend. IWM over the high. I like this a lot. Inverse head and shoulders. Void. That's good to go.